Hello, Realty Pros. Welcome back to another mastermind. We appreciate you all taking your time out this evening to join us, and we are especially appreciative to our guest. Well, he's not a guest, to our partner lender, and that is Mr. Michael Cooper with Certainty Home Lending. And so he is here to share with us. We've already started some discussion pre. Um, mastermind, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to him so we can get started. Thank you so much, Mr. Cooper. We appreciate, again, your willingness to come and join us and to share with us this evening.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Now that we got through the introduction, we are ready to rock and roll. I am excited, always talking about anytime you can make money. There's a lot of things that you can talk about when it comes to this subject. The one of my favorite quotes is, if you're not making money while you sleep, then you're a failure. If you're not making money while you sleep, you are a failure. Now, how do you do that? You invest, you buy things, you invest in things that's working for you all day, every day. And that's a serious quote. And you'll hear all your top millionaires say that all the time. So what I want to do today or this evening is share some tools that will help all of us to grow, to mature in the investment side of this world and begin to, build some generational wealth. Okay. So jump in anytime, ask any questions. I know I got time. I'm not in a hurry to go see the game. I feel like we're going to win it regardless. And so I'll claim that one, okay? So with that being the case, all right, so I want to give everyone some foundations. And here's where this is stemming from. One of the things I did, I'm not going to reveal my age, but one of the things I did was I had to sit back one day and say, if you're over a certain age, where should you be in life? And it's funny because that opened up a conversation amongst my wife and I to figure out, if you're in your 20s, where should you be? If you're in your 30s, where should you be? If you're in your 40s, where should you be? And if you're 50s. And so we started figuring out where people should be and how do you get there. But then after we got past that part, we started figuring out, what if you're not already there? What if you already made some mistakes in life? What if you already had setbacks? The biggest issue in life is that a lot of times people think it's too late. Sometimes people think that we don't have the opportunity to rebound again in life, and that's the case. That's the biggest setback for anyone, okay? So I want to share the tools that's going to help everyone move forward, and it's called, I don't even have a theme for this one. I'm going to call it Overcoming Fear. I don't know why I said that, but I'm going to go with this, okay? Now, trying to build generational wealth, trying to buy investment properties, you have to understand the foundation to doing this. The foundation is the most important piece of this process. What do you have to overcome and what do you have to have established? And there's 4 major tools in my life. One, you got to have attitude. We were just talking about this earlier before we even got online. Attitude is 90% of your success. Most people don't even realize that you can be talented. You can be the smartest person. You can have all these tools. But if you don't have a winning mentality, if you don't have the attitude, and the thing about attitude, it builds character, because attitude will tell you that you can win regardless. You can have setbacks when you have the right attitude. You can have flaws. You can have failures. You can fall down. But when you have the right attitude, you always have the mentality that I am going to get back up. So attitude is 90% of your success with moving forward with what we're going to talk about today. That's your main foundation. Another one is understanding fear. The word fear, and back in the day, we used to talk about this, and we used to say fear is, say it again. I was going to say it. False evidence appearing real. I couldn't even remember. So fear, but one of the things about fear is that it's very deceptive. Very deceptive. And the funny thing about it is that it will cause you to lose out on a lot of your blessings and a lot of good things and great testimonies that you can have in your life, all because of fear. So here's what I wanted to share. And I'm gonna share my testimony first. This is my second marriage. I don't think I ever revealed that amongst our family all these years. And the thing about it is that the first marriage didn't go well for me. And this is personal. But because of that, you begin to develop, some insecurities sometimes. You begin to think that, dang, I must have did something wrong. I felt bad for myself for about 2 minutes. It didn't last long. But the thing is, you begin to build these things. And the first thing I realized is that then you have this fear of rejection. You have this fear of proceeding and moving on. You have this fear, and you can develop all kinds of feelings that it's not going to help you in life. We got rid of that real quick, fast, in a hurry. The thing is, I had to realize that because I had a setback, that had nothing to do with me moving forward and getting back on that horse. Go back to attitude. Go back to attitude. Now, in my second marriage, I'm happy as ever, 24 years later, and I'm still winning. So all of that was just a tweak in the system. And I'm saying this, and I'm sharing this story because we all know so many people who have had setbacks and couldn't bounce back because they stayed in that one area of fear. Fear will keep you bound. Fear will keep you in the closet. Fear will keep you in the corner. Fear will stop you from growing. The best thing about it is when you have attitude and you feel like you can succeed, the thing about it is that you feel like you can overcome anything. So those are two of the main foundations. Now, the third foundation is that you have to understand that iron sharpens iron. You need to be around like-minded people. You need to be around people like Jasmine and Shea Porter. Now, I've known them a long time, and I've seen when they've had setbacks. I've heard them when they called me and had setbacks. Some of you know when they had setbacks. The best thing about it, they didn't take it and say, oh, okay, this didn't happen. No, they understood that it happened, but then 2 seconds later, maybe 5 minutes later, they would bounce back and say, okay, this is the winning formula. This is how we're going to bounce back. This is how we're going to overcome. I have this rule in my household that I say, everybody, you can be mad if you want to, but you only have 5 minutes. You get the 5-minute rule. You can do and say what you want to do and get upset. After that, let's figure out a strategy to overcome it. Now, how are we going to fix this? You can't stay in that. These tools are things that we've heard before. We talk about it, but we got to continue to hear this because this is going to be the foundation to our success. Make sure you're around like-minded people because I want to be around people that's actually doing what I want to do. I want to be around people that are successful. I want to be around people that's hungry and have an appetite to grow and build generational wealth, okay? Now, and the last thing, after you add all those, you also got to know you need testimonies. And that's the last piece of this foundation. So you understand you got to have a good attitude, overcome fear, be around like-minded people, and thrive off the testimonies. The testimonies are beautiful. So if you ever wanted to be a millionaire, and anyone wants to be a millionaire, here's the thing. I know some people that have accomplished this. I've done loans for people that have accomplished this, and they took a profession that you would never believe in. And because they understood this foundation, and some of you might not even believe this. I did the loan for this gentleman 4 years in a row. His taxes come in, and he made over $1 million. One was like 1.6, 1 year was 3.2. It just every year it was millions. So I finally had to figure out, okay, what do you do? He finally turns in his taxes, and it says he's a professional gambler. I said, wait a minute, okay. I said, okay, come in the office and explain this to me. I'm a younger guy at this time, and I'm trying to figure this out. He plays nothing but slots. Slot machines. He doesn't do anything in life. Most people hearing this story won't believe this. His tax returns, I could show you today if I could actually show you his information. This man makes millions playing slot machines. Now, what are the chances of us being successful for doing something like that? And in most of our minds, it's slim to none. Who thinks about being a professional slot machine player? But this guy's doing it. And here's the thing he told me. He said, I have no fear. I have no fear in trying. He said, I always have the right attitude. Every time I go and play, I know I'm going to win. He said, yeah, there are times when I lost. There are times when I had setbacks. There are times when things didn't go my way, but I understood this principle. So with all these things that he had going, he overcome fear, he had the right attitude, he hung around other winners, and now he had the testimony. These are the 4 foundational things that you need to be successful with anything you do in life. The reason why I like to point that out is because I promise you, in anything we do, we're always going to have setbacks. We're going to have moments where we make the decision and we go left when we should have went right. We're going to have those moments where we cringe a little bit. And that could be even in your marriage as a parent or a grandparent. You're going to have those moments. But if you understand these principles here, you will be successful every time, no doubt. Now, here's the funny thing. When it comes to investing, everybody says to me, how can I build generational wealth? How can I buy investment properties if I have no money? That's my job, to find how you can get money. But the thing is that there is money out there for you to do it. So I'm going to take everyone on a journey real quick about this 2 people and see if you can follow me and understand how this works. So I have this one lady that came to me back in 2019. And she asked, could we purchase a property together? We purchased the property, got a single family home. She was fine, did pretty well with it. After she got the single family home, that was a higher interest rate because she did not have the best credit. After we did that for about a year, I told her, I said, just continue to pay your bills on time. After that year, we refinanced her house. And I told her, let's get a lower interest rate and pay off all your bills and get your credit scores higher. Now, here's the problem. Most people would tell you not to refinance right at that moment. It was the best thing ever because she didn't get a best interest rate, but what we were accomplishing were we were paying off her debt so that we can build her credit scores up even higher in the 700s. Once we build those credit scores up in the 700s, then we knew we were in a situation where we can move forward to actually purchase some other properties. Now, this lady who started out in the 602 credit score, bought a house. After she bought a house, next thing you know, a year and a half later, we get her credit scores up to the 700s. Now she's in the 700s. But now that we have credit and we're in a good place, she wants to buy a property, an investment property. And the way this story goes, she bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 investment properties, and now she's retired. 5 investment properties, most of them in DC, and all of them I did stated programs, all because we took this route to get her scores up. That's one story of how you can do it. Now, I'm going to give you the other story. The other story is me. This is the best one ever. I had to buy an investment property in DC. I didn't have all the pieces in place to do it. I had to go with a hard money loan. I took an interest rate of 13.99%. Most of you probably hung up by now. I did it myself. I did my own loan. I didn't have everything in place. I took that loan and it was only about $20,000 to $25,000 worth of equity. My family members told me I was not thinking right, okay? My wife said, I trust you, but I'm not sure. Only $20,000 worth of equity in this place, 13.99%. I told him it's a gold mine and it's going to work and I got to get it right then and there. Now, the other problem is that I didn't want to make any payments because this was about a year ago and the market was kind of crazy right now. So I was a little nervous. I wasn't closing as much as I would like to. So what I did was, not only did I get the loan with hard money, but I prepaid a whole year of all the mortgage payments.
Wow.
That's thinking outside the box. I didn't have a payment for a whole year. I got the house together and started renting it out. Now, the way I rented it out was I couldn't rent it out for a whole year because the whole house wasn't together. So I had to rent it out just for people who needed it for a week for a place to lay their head. Now, wait a minute, this is catching on. It's $1,000 here, $500 there. Then this house is a work in progress. We get the house together, we building it. I don't make a mortgage payment for a whole year. My taxes are already paid for the whole year. My insurance is paid for the whole year. It's at 13.99%. Now, after the year, I'm ready to refinance it, take it back down, cut my payment in half, rent it out, and I'm looking good. The best part about this story is when everyone told me this wasn't a great deal because it was about $20,000 to $25,000 worth of equity. Right now, that property, which was not even a year and a half ago, now I'm sitting on $200,000 worth of equity. $200,000 worth of equity. That's how you build it. That's what you do. Now, here's the plan. What am I going to do? I'm going to refinance again. Why? Because I don't fear. I don't have fear. Why am I going to refinance again? Because I have the right attitude. I understand how this works and I understand what I'm trying to do. I have a goal of how many properties I want to own. So I don't have a problem. Another reason I'm gonna do it because I hang around like-minded people. I hang around the Shay and the Jasmines. I know what I'm working with. And you know, the thing is that then I hear the testimonies of these people that are doing these things. So with that being the case, that $200,000 equity, I can take 100,000 out. Now I can go pay cash for another house. I'm gonna tell you right now, if we don't jump on this, we're hurting ourselves. We're hurting ourselves. We're hurting ourselves. Because a lot of people want to succeed in investing, but the biggest problem is the word fear. I'm just telling you over and over and over again, fear. I became a loan officer because I overcame fear. Everybody told me don't do that. I had 4 kids at the time. I was dating my wife now, and I wasn't in the best situation. I had a good job, but I was making about $70,000 per year back then, and it was pretty good. And I walked away from that job to be commission only for 4 kids and didn't know how I was going to do it because I overcame fear, had the right attitude. Some of you have testimonies. I want to give a shout out to Marcus. Marcus King purchased a house. And that dude, that house that he did, that was a gold mine deal. He already has the plan together. He has the attitude. He didn't have the fear. I'm ready for him because Marcus, if you can hear me, if you on, just hurry up and get this over with and do what you got to do because I know you're about to get another one and you need a good lender.
I got you.
So, I got you, bro. The thing about it is that that's what we have to do. So again, you're not alone, regardless to what age you are. We can all succeed, overcome, we can invest, and we can get it done. Keep in mind, these are a couple of tools that's going to help you too to add to the foundation of what we was talking about. So again, I said you're not alone. One of the best things you can always do to help you to get started is to take inventory of yourself. Take inventory of where you stand today. Take inventory of where you want to go and have a plan. You got to have a plan. I don't care how long your plan takes. I don't care if you have to adjust it. I don't care if you have to tweak it. You have to have a plan. I've gone over my plan. I've had plans. If you look at my phone, I got plans for everything. I got plans till I'm 99. And I do. I have plans till I'm 99. My wife laughs till I'm 99 because no, it's a long time. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just in case if you didn't know, Mr. Shea Porter just walked in and he's trying to do the math. He's doing long math though. He's doing long math. So he'll get it. He'll get it. Something about this shirt that if y'all didn't see it, that's for you too, Marcus. Anyway, I am scheduled. I got
Russell
everything set
Wilson.
until I turn 99 because you have to plan. They say my people perish for lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of planning. And that's the truth. You got to put it in perspective. So these are some tools. Another tool is know your numbers, know your budget, know what you're working with. These are tools that we teach for. I do a class sometimes for people that are 50 and over, how to bounce back in finances. Know your numbers, know your budget, live below your means. These are tools. A lot of people always ask me about credit card debt. How do I get out of credit card debt? Stop using the card. I'm sorry, common sense is not common. I know it, and that's too easy, but that's one of the most important things I can give you. That's the easiest thing. I mean, I'm serious. People will ask you, pay me to teach them how to get out of debt. And this is the easiest thing sometimes. I'm like, just don't use that card, that first one. I mean, and then do the snowball effect, pay it down. So live below your means. And now, let me stop right there because living below your means I think it's very misleading because sometimes people think living below your means mean you can't have nice things. You can enjoy yourself, you can pamper yourself, but you just have to do it the right way. There's nothing wrong with that. It is nothing wrong with planning, even if you wanted to buy something nice. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll give you another example. I'm gonna use me again. I bought a shirt. I would never tell you how much it cost, but it took me a year to buy it. Now, it took me a year to buy it for two reasons. The first reason, because I ain't want to hear my wife's mouth. Maybe three reasons. The second reason, if I felt like I would have bought something, then she would have felt like she had to buy something for the same amount. So those are two reasons I held out. But really, the third reason was I was watching that shirt. I really wanted this shirt, and I had to wait till it dropped down in price. And it almost came down to 50%. And when it came down to 50%, I was the happiest person ever. She gave me her blessings. I got the shirt. It may have took me a year, but it's also part of the process of being disciplined and patient. When we have this microwave mentality financially and we want everything now and we can't be patient, then it's going to set you back and mess you up every time. You have to be patient with yourself. You can't have a microwave mentality. You have to do like I did. You got to be at 13.99% sometimes, and you can pay it off for a whole year, but to know that a year and a half later, you just inherited $200,000 worth of equity. So those are good things. Those are good tools that you can use. That's going to always help you to get there to the next place. All right. Now, how do we get more income too? Two of the best ways, and I don't know, if I had everybody in here, I don't want this group to ask because they already know the answers. But there's two major ways we can actually grow income and build wealth. The two major ways. There's a lot of ways we can do it. And not the casino, but the thing is that if you're investing and you're purchasing and you have investment properties, you can actually, that's one of the quickest ways to generate generational wealth and build wealth. Of course, the stock market is a good one as well. There's a gentleman that I have, a friend of mine, when I first got into business, and I met him in early 2000s. Can't say his name, but he used to work for Metro. He retired 6 years ago, and he's a lot younger than I am. He started with one property. Almost everything I told him to do, he did. Except I should have listened and accepted my own advice. He bought every property and got about 20 properties. Some of them he rented out, some of them he flipped, he retired. He's doing exceptionally well, all because he took that advice and he wasn't afraid. So I always tell everyone that there's still ways you can still generate wealth. There's things that you can put into practice and, keep that in mind. Now, the number one thing that everybody forgets is that how can I purchase these investment properties if I don't have good credit? How can I purchase these investment properties if I don't have assets to put into it? How can I do these things? There are case by case, but there are ways you can do it. There's a gentleman that we did a loan for, and it was 1 point something million. And they were about to lose that house, but they were trying to buy a new house. And I don't know the lender that they were working with, but this agent called me and said, "Hey, can you help me out? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. They're about to lose everything." What we did was we refinanced that whole property that they had, and they got a ridiculous, the rate was high, but their credit scores were 494. They took all the money out, paid cash for the new place. They still got a loan on this one, but they took my advice. I said, just don't get any payments for 8 months. No payments for 8 months over here. Now they got $900,000 debt. It was worth 1 point something, but they got a $900,000 debt over here. They paid cash for this one over here. Now they stopped the bleeding with the foreclosure. They got their new house, 494 scores. And then now they just did the refi over here with the new house because now the credit is getting better because they paid off some of the bills too out of the refinance. Their credit is better. Then they got a proper loan. They got both houses and they saved everything. We went around the block with it. We did. We had to go hard money, stated, and all these things. But there are so many programs out there. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen for 2025. A lot of people are worried about what's going to happen in the office of the White House. I don't care about that. All I care about is us being productive and all of us winning and coming out on top. The way we're going to do it is that they're going to introduce program after program after program after program after program. One of my favorite programs is DSCR. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of that. I know Mo has. That's one of the ones I use all the time now. I do a DSCR. What is that? It's a stated program where you can use that to purchase properties. They got bank stated programs all over the place now. They have NINA programs. What is NINA? No income, no asset. You don't show anything. You show good credit and an ID and you get a house. These things are coming back now that they fine-tuned everything throughout the process. So, you know, these are some tools. I gave you the foundation, gave you the tools, gave you the testimony. And I'm going to just say this. Continue to read, continue to educate yourself. Still keep that faith. You got to have that faith. You got to have that faith. You got to believe in yourself that you can get this done and that you can grow. All of us can be at this certain places in life financially where we'd like to be. But it comes with a couple of things that we got to tweak in the system, all of us. I'm still tweaking. I'm talking to y'all today and I'm tweaking the system as we speak because that's what you have to do. I'll go back to the basketball thing. One of the stories, and I told this before, so Shay and Jasmine have heard this before. When I coached AAU basketball, I was out of the loop. I couldn't coach anymore. I was out of touch. I was old. I was done. Haven't done that in 100 years. I'm coaching AAU, and I remember the first time, everything I said, everybody was looking at me like, okay, what is he talking about? And of course, we lost a couple of games. But before the season was over, I realized I just didn't have any fear, had the right attitude, had the right people around me, and knew the testimonies. That's my foundation. With that being the case, we had setbacks, but we tweaked the system. But before that season was over, we set it off and we won the championship. And the thing is, and then it was like, Coach Cooper did it, you know, and it was like, woo, yeah. But we had some problems. We had some things, but we had to tweak it and we had to work through it. That's the same way we have to be in life with what we're trying to do with investment properties and everything we're doing, especially financial. Last thing, and before we open up to Q&A, never stop learning. This is my quote. Never stop living. Never stop loving. Don't give up. And I'm ready for some questions. Let's go for it. And just in case I didn't see it again, I'll just show that shirt. Just for a show.
Just for the sake of us not having feedback. We'll just do it here on the computer.
Okay.
Oh, you have questions on?
Oh, Darlene, you have yourself unmuted?
I do now.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I have two questions. First question is, so when you were, when you were talking, you were talking about the different people, individuals that I hear myself echoing. If I cut this off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's better, because I heard myself twice. So you were talking about investors and that you help with their properties, and you said that they would then refinance, take the money out and buy other properties. So my first question is, what would you refinance and not HELOC? Because I know refinancing is starting the clock all over again. So if you have equity in your home, why wouldn't you, do a HELOC versus refinance? That's my first question. And then my second question is, so I'm speaking for me. I have two properties, one in Florida and one here. And I'm looking at doing an investment purchase, but I'm trying to figure out what would work best. Okay, so both these properties both have equity and good interest rates, stuff like that. And I'm looking at doing HELOC. So I'm just trying to understand what I should do. Should I HELOC both of them or should I HELOC one of them? So those are my two questions. Maybe that was three questions.
All right. Can you hear me? All right. There we go. All right. So very good questions. And here's the thing with HELOCs, there are two types of HELOCs, Darlene. And so it's case by case. So you have to understand if you're doing a regular HELOC, which is an open-ended HELOC or a closed-end HELOC. So a lot of times lenders won't tell you what's what. But if you do an open-end HELOC, that means that you get it for $200,000. You might only borrow $100,000 and it can go up and down and everything. The problem with that, and I've gone through this twice, is that they can get suspended. And you can get caught you can get caught in the middle of anything with trying to do that. That happened to me in 08. I had a $200,000 HELOC and I owed 96,000 on it. And the market was slowing down and crashing and everything. I said, oh, I better go ahead and take the rest of this money out and pay some of these bills off. And trying to be, proactive. And I get a letter the next week saying, you can't use any more money. We suspended it. That's an open-ended HELOC.
We can't hear you.
So you got to be careful to do those, because if you get an open-ended HELOC, then they can suspend it, they can control it. You want to close in. But the problem with a closed-in HELOC is that a lot of times that interest rate is higher than the refinance rate. So that's the only reason. So you have to look at it as case by case. Now, there are companies that I broker to, or I can recommend, Darlene, that have good rates for HELOC, but it fluctuates. Now, I know one that's doing it right now, and they're at 8.5% for the HELOC. But if I do the DSCR program, I was doing it at 7.99, which was an actual refinance. So to me, it was better to do the refinance with the lower interest rate than the HELOC. I don't worry about the term. And Darlene, when you said starting all over again, because when it comes to investment properties, you can control that. You can do a 30-year term, or you can do a lower term. But the main thing is just you want to make sure you get the best situation where you're locked in, you don't have anything fluctuating, you don't have anything suspending later on down the road, or you don't have a rate increase on your HELOC, because those are things that normally are associated with them. You do have ones that are bound and closed in, but those are usually at a higher rate.
So the one property interest rate is 2.25. The other property the interest rate is 3. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to do like a refinance, because that's about as low as you gonna get.
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
you might have to do definitely you might want to do a HELOC, Darlene. And I can give you some recommendations for that, because I'll tell you some of the best ones out there. I broker them out, I refer them out. I can do some of the business with them, but I just prefer to send you right to them, because there's some good ones out there that you can do it. And there's nothing wrong with a HELOC, but everything is case by case. But if you're one of those people, you got a good interest rate back in the day, about 3 or 4 years ago, and you don't want to touch it, which I don't want to touch mine, then I would highly recommend get you a closed-in HELOC, because that's still a lot better than actually getting rid of your 2.5% interest rate.
Thank you for that information.
Can you go in? I
Okay.
heard you say something about the DSR loan. When you say stated, what can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yep. So for the DSCR, basically that's a stated loan that's based on the income of the rental or the investment property. So it has to be an investment property. They do look at your minimum credit score, but the most important thing is to make sure that you have a lease agreement already in place, or rental income, or you have a potential new lease that's going to take place by the time you go to settlement. With that being the case, the way they look at it is that they offset the payment with the rental income. So if you're buying a place and you're paying, $2,500 a month for a DSCR, and you say your tenant is renting out for $1,300, you're going to be denied. But if you're saying that you have a tenant and they're breaking even at 2,500, right around the same, then they're going to approve you. And so it's basically based on the rental income. They're going to want a lease agreement. Some of them will ask for a security deposit check if that's the case. Every once in a while they do. But these are things that we know, in advance that we got to deal with. So that's usually how it works, Marcus. You can go ahead, you can buy another one now. You ready?
Yeah, I am.
We got you. I got a good agent for you too.
I know client who bought investment property in their personal name and want. You can hear me.
I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it.
So they purchased investment property, but they purchase in their personal name, and they want to sell it to their corporation. How can they go about it?
Well, you can, they want to sell it to them, they can do that, and you just got to draw up the documents for that first.
No, I mean, so the corporation is their corporation.
Oh, they just
They trying to
got to change the deed. They can just change the deed. Some will refinance, and most lenders, and you didn't hear this from me, but most of us would tell you, refinance it because we want to make money off the deal. But you don't have to do that. You can actually just go change the deed. It costs a little bit, but to be honest, changing the deed and flipping it over from your personal name to your business name, it's a lot cheaper than going through the whole refinance process. People used to do that back in the early 2000s all the time. They would buy it in their name, and then we would hurry them get the loan done, because back in the day, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac used to have a problem with doing loans in the LLC. So now, they will, case by case allow it. But the thing is that it wasn't big. So if you wanted to flip it, you had to get it in your name, then get in your name, and then maybe a year later, something like that, just go ahead and do a new deed. So. That's gonna be in my book.
Any other questions? Anyone else with a question?
Yep. Aurelia has a question.
Hey,
I'm
Mike, I
ready
have a
for you.
quick question.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Oh.
I just took the speaker. Let me. Can you hear me now? Mhm. Okay. Because I'm trying to understand what you said about the DSCR. If you already have a property and you want to switch it, like you say, and you do the deed part, how long do you have to wait before you consider that as an investment property if you already have a renter in that property?
All right, there we go. So basically, if you already have a tenant in the property and it's an investment property now, if that's correct, and you want to see how long you can wait before you change over to an LLC, normally the rule of thumb has always been 6 months. That's what we always ask for. We always ask for everything 6 months as a lender. Okay, if you purchase a house and you want to refinance it, we say wait for 6 months. Anything is 6 months, but here's the catch: you really don't have to wait that long. Once it's sold and established, that is your property. You can actually go to them right away and say, hey, look, I need to do this. I need to change the deed. Now, here's one of the benefits. I think the longer you wait, the cheaper it is, though. And I would highly recommend calling Glenn with something like that, just to ask what the quote is, because Glenn is actually doing one for me right now that we're just changing the deed for a client. Yep.
Curtis had a question.
Ready for you, Curtis?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Quick question. Looking at multi-unit properties, to purchase and then rent out. I know you mentioned that there were some programs, out there specifically for multi-units. What are they still available, and what do those kind of look like?
Most of them, they do still have programs out there. First of all, you have to understand, Curtis, there's money out there for anything you want to do. You want to do anything, they're going to find a way to get you some money. There are programs, but here's the catch with most of them. Unless you're doing the hard money, which I talked about that at the beginning, unless you're doing the hard money, that's the easiest way to go. Say, for instance, if you already have a primary property and you wanted to do that, they're going to do it right away. They would do it. It could be $1 million. If you have your primary house, and let's just say, for instance, it's a $200,000 home, it could be 1 bedroom. I don't care. That's your primary residence. You've been there for years. If you wanted to go buy $1 million multi-unit building that you wanted to invest, and if they see that there's good equity in there and there's potential in there, they will finance it right away. Now, you also have other lenders. You can still, well, we won't get into SBA. We'll save that for the next time. But there are other investment lenders, different things that you can do as well, Curtis. Now, here's the key. If you're purchasing, though, and anything you do, they're going to want to see 20% down. But the way you do it is that you take the 20% out of your current equity that you already have, you get it in advance, and then you can use it that way. So What most of the people do that are really wealthy and they're very prosperous and they're doing well financially, they don't touch their own money. They don't touch their own money. They don't do what I do. They will go ahead and use other people's money. Not OPP, OPM. Okay. Other people's money. So because of that, that's how the smart ones do it. And that's why they are successful. They will not spend any of their money. They will use the equity because, first of all, they're not scared or afraid to use the equity because they know that they're going to get it back. Some of you that already been homeowners for over the last 5 to 7 years probably took a loan or two out. If you didn't, I understand. But look at where you are today. I guarantee you, I know me 10 years ago, I didn't think my house was going to be worth what it is today. I knew it was going to be more, but I didn't think it was going to be where it was at. And remember, the market crashed and we still rebounded. That just lets you know this is incredible what we can do with this housing market. It is an incredible tool. I love selling it and talking to people about it because the buildup and the wealth and the benefits are far more greater than what a lot of people understand. If you use the tools the right way, it will benefit you. It will benefit them. That's why right now, I love seeing like the young people come to me that want to get a house because somebody in their 30s, oh man, they're hit at the ball game. I was a little bit older before I did mine. So I missed it. I didn't know. But the thing is that if they can do this, they will benefit. And Curtis, again, you can do it. You're going to probably need 20% down. That's not a problem. But we just got to find where we're going to take the 20% from. Because I'm never going to spend my money ever again if I'm going to do anything. Anything I buy, I'm not spending my money. It's not coming from my 401k. It's not coming from TSP. It's not coming from a gift. It's not coming from anything when it comes to investment properties. It was going to come from the equity I already have, and I'm a build. And then you can do this. You can take a project and you can say, okay, I want to have 10 properties, Mike. I need 10. Okay, let's start with one. We might have to get one in 2025. There's nothing wrong with that. Be patient. Then we say, okay, let's give it every 2 years. You do that. Next thing you know, even in 10 years, you got 5 properties. You might look at it and say, okay, I haven't reached my goal yet, and it's been 10 years, but yet you still have 5 properties that you didn't have and that you're building generational wealth. So you are definitely doing what you need to do. You just have to sit back and have a plan and be patient. If everyone understands and follow those tools and keep that foundation and take those tidbits, I guarantee you, we're all going to be successful. We're all going to be successful. Curtis, I want you to get that multi-unit building. We need to talk about that tomorrow. And, Darlene, I need you to get this HELOC. We can talk about that tomorrow. I'm ready because the thing is that this is what we do. If the number one reason I'm busy is because I talk money and credit all day, every day. That's it. And there are cases, someone sent a client to me today, and I told them to stick with the lender that they're with, but I still find myself, educating them. So the thing is that it's all day, every day. It's not even all my clients, but this is what we do. So, let's get it. Anyone else?
Hey, I got another question, Mike. No, just to follow up on that. So the way that you were able to essentially pay your mortgage off, pay it off, but to pay for your first year of essential mortgage, you were able to then pull the money equity out of the property, not just to purchase it, but you pulled some extra out so that you could then have to be able to pay off like your first year of mortgage. Not to be all in your business.
All right. So Curtis, what I did, I don't mind sharing. I took enough out to cover. So if my payment was, let's use this for simple math, $3,000 per month. I took an extra $36,000 out of the equity to cover the mortgage payment for a whole year. I did that so that I wouldn't have to even worry about it while I was going through the process. Now, you might say, it's at 13.99%, and that's high. But then, you know, there's this gentleman, that Shea Porter, that I always say, it's interest, you still write off. It's a write-off. He says it all the time. It's beneficial to me. Oh, I can't wait to file my taxes when I had that 13.99. I'm like kicking my heels because I won all the way around. I rented out the place a couple of times while I was fixing it. I didn't have a payment for 12 months. My equity grew. I hit a home run, maybe a grand slam. The thing is that I just used the equity as much as I could to make sure I covered the mortgage payment so I didn't have to worry about that. And that's how I did it. Now, it's not always a case where you can use 12 months. I got some people I might have, you know, I'll come to them and say, hey, you can do 6 months. But anything, if you can do 3 months without making a payment, that's still a benefit. That's a win for what we're trying to do. And that is, you know, buy more properties, get some multi units and things of that nature. I mean, I'm working with somebody now that's purchasing up in Martha's Vineyard, and it's a bank stated program, and it's perfect for, you know, a nice size. I looked at it today. I'm talking about it because what did I say earlier? Iron sharpens iron. I was actually looking at the appraisal today saying, wow, maybe it's time for me to buy one up there. So hopefully that helps out. Hey, Kerma, you see my shirt?
Hey, Mike,
Yeah, Kerma. You should, oh, well, let me see your shirt, man.
I don't know
Hey,
if you can
Kerma,
hear
I'll
me.
see your shirt, man.
Hey, Mike, I
All
can,
right. I know you got a question too, Shay.
hey, Mike,
Uh-oh.
can you hear me? I got on late, but this sounds like genius to me. But my question is, how long will a person who's just purchased, like myself, how long do you have to wait before they can start, you know, utilizing some of these strategies and concepts? And is there a way that you can speed up the process, maybe by paying a little bit extra to your mortgage, or are there some strategies that you can do to kind of get yourself positioned to start doing some of this?
All right. Yep. Yep. Hey, Kerman. So yeah, you could definitely always pay down extra. So there's really no true timetable because the thing is, it's all based on the equity. So the first time I did this for myself, it took 11 months before I saw the equity build up enough that I was able to do something. I normally tell people it's about a year. Give yourself a year. But for the meantime, what can you do? You can always go on a bi-weekly payment. So, and I know Porter talks about that a lot. When you make the bi-weekly payment, you're making one extra payment per year and you're paying down your principal balance even more. But in addition to that, one of the things I like to do, if you have a payment, I round everything off. I teach my kids this. I practice, I preach this. Round everything off. Go up, increase it. So if you basically, if you have a credit card, and your credit card is $37 per month. And I'm just using this for an example. You never pay the minimum or the exact payment. But if you round it up, at least go no less than 50. You round it up to the next. I mean, as high as you can. If you have a car payment, you know, it's $375 if you can round it up to $500. So if you can round up your monthly mortgage payments, if you got a payment that's $34.99, and I mean, well, $34.09, I meant to say, and you can round it up to $3,500, all of that matters. So you're penetrating that as well, but you can watch and see how the market is going. I know a lot of people use Zillow and different things, but you have tools to be able to see how the value is coming around. I think we're going to be impressed next year with the values. I really do. I think you're going to see a lot of values jump up next year. I wanted to sell a condo of mine, and I'll tell you why I wanted to get rid of it. And I was ready to call. I think I even told you, I said I got something coming up, and then I didn't do anything on it because I wanted to sell it. And I'm just tired of the building that I was dealing with. But then I went online just to look at the value one day, and I said, oh, you know what? I can wait a little bit longer. So I was like, and he pays on time. I have no complaints. I was like, you know what? This is all right. We're gonna sit back. The thing is that it's the process. I saw the value. This happened probably within the last couple of months. I already know next spring is gonna be booming. I'm excited. I'm trying to get ready for next spring right now because I already know it's gonna be booming. So give yourself about a year, Kerma. Like your shirt.
I was going to say I like yours too.
All right, and Shay, you had something you was getting ready.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to echo what Mr. Cooper said in terms of encouraging you all to start your investment portfolio. I have a very good friend of mine, and Marcus and Curtis know him very well as well, and he doesn't mind me telling his testimony. But he started out his investment portfolio buying a property in Baltimore. And during the time he was working a full-time job, and he would go up on the weekends and he would work on that investment property to try to get it up so that he can rent it out. And so he finally got that one finished, and in quick order, he went and bought another one. And then somewhere along the line, I think he lost his job. And I remember he came in, he talked to Jasmine and I, he was very upset. And Jasmine Porter looked right at him and said, "This is excellent." And he was like, "I just told you I lost my job." She said, "Now you can become a full-time investor." And from that point on, he began to buy 3 and 4 properties at a time, to the point where he had to keep the crew full-time that was working with him. And what they would do is continuously build on these properties. Now he has about 65 properties. He's a full-time investor. He never went back to the federal government, has never worked a job again. And this was only about 10 years ago. So in 10 years, just one at a time, 2 at a time. Then when he developed, he had equity, he would pull money out of some of them to buy the new ones. Utilizing the loans. And he now has about 65 rental properties, 80% of which now are Section 8. So he's getting that income regardless. And so that's his goal now, to get 100% of them Section 8. And so he often tells his wife, and he thinks it's funny. I told him it's not funny. He said, if I ever die, just wait till the first of the month, and I want to have the biggest funeral that anybody's ever seen. But it's amazing to us to see people who just get their hands dirty, jump in, get their feet wet, make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. And he encouraged me. I remember I came to Mr. Cooper and I told him, I said, "I'm ready to buy I talk about it all the time. Let me go. I want to buy an apartment building." And we bought a 4-unit building, and I was working on the building. When I wasn't working on it, I was paying people to work on it. And then the pandemic hit, guys. I didn't know anything about putting an apartment together or putting cabinets in or fixing toilets or anything. But during the pandemic, the guy's price just quintupled. And he wanted 5 times as much to renovate a property than what he had charged me previously. And I said, "Sir, for that price," I said, "I can buy all of the tools, all of the materials, and mess up 3 times and still save money." And his challenge to me was, do it. And Caramon can tell you, because Caramon has been up there with me. I go up there, I put the cabinets in, I put the refrigerators in, I put the floors in, I put the toilets in. So Miss Anita always harasses me and say, "I'll never see you around the office anymore." I'm a janitor. I'm the maintenance man at my building. I put electricity in, I do all of these things, but it's okay to get your hands dirty. We have YouTube University. You can learn just about anything you want to on there. You can mess up everything 2 or 3 times. And if you have to, just go ahead and pay an electrician and plumber to come and do it right. Just pretend like you did it. That's all I had to say, guys. Get your hands dirty, get your feet wet, give Mike Cooper a call and get that loan.
I'm not back on yet. Okay, I'm back. Okay. And so I got to chime in on that. I remember when Porter did this, and there's still times I feel like I call him and he's still working on it. So I think the only thing that was wrong with that story, he said he probably messed up 3 times. It might have been a little bit more than that, because he's been up there 30 times per week. So, but no, the thing is, it's so true, because he wasn't even here in the beginning. And that was the tone that we were talking about. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to have a setback. The problem that we do, I mean, what we do, we're so hard on ourselves because we're hard on other people too sometimes. Somebody make a mistake or slip up, and the next thing you know, we judge it to the head, I mean, and their heart. And we don't realize that this person is giving it their best. The thing is, and then we do that to ourselves sometimes. We're so hard on ourselves when we fall short. Here's the thing, I purchased a house, it's the best one ever. Now, in the early 2000s, I was ahead of the ball game because I was trying to do all of this. I'm sharing this with everyone, and then the market crashed and I crashed. Here's the thing. I bought a house for $180,000, 2004 or 5. I was forced to get rid of it. I bought it with a friend, and at the time, we didn't see eye to eye. So this situation turned into a power struggle. We sold the house. We probably sold it for like $375. We profited a little bit. I didn't want to sell a house. But at the time, I couldn't handle it and didn't know how to handle it and didn't know how to keep the house during that time. Well, if I would have kept that house, guess what it's worth today, Miss Aurelia? How much you think it might be worth? 500? What do you think, Miss? You say 500? You say 800? And I'm asking them because in the office. Okay, I didn't tell you this. I ain't gonna ask for it because this house was in DC. I bought it for $188,000. I still drive by this house. If my wife and I are in the car and the kids know this, and we anywhere in that neighborhood, I drive by and I put my head down because I was forced to sell that house. I didn't have to sell. I didn't know the tools that I have today. That house is worth 1.3 mil right now. I bought it for 180. I bought it for 180. Then I bought one in St. Elizabeth over there near St. Elizabeth before they built the Mystics thing around the same time for 185. Both of them. Now, here's the reason why I'm telling you this. Not because I want you to say, okay, oh, that's bad, whatever happened. Because I had a setback. And Porter just said something that really sparked a nerve in me. So, okay, I had a setback. That's when most people crumble and never get back up. That's the moral of the story. We got to hang in there. We got to stick in there regardless. You got to have that can-do, will-do mentality that, hey, look, I had to get back on my feet and say, okay, I got to do it again. I got to tweak it. Next time, don't buy with that friend. Got to find the right friend to buy with if you're going to do that. The thing is that it didn't stop me from investing. It was a lesson learned. I tweaked the system, and like Porter said, that was such a good point, that you learn from your mistakes and you move on. And that's it for me. It's almost football time.
All right.
Shirt. No.
Before you go,
No.
Mike,
I'm
can
just
you guys hear me? Yeah,
Yes,
I
we
want to
can hear
say
you.
also. Yeah, I want to say also. Not only not get discouraged, don't get discouraged, but we were talking today earlier. Realty talks about not being distracted, and so yes, I do have to go up there and be my own maintenance man from time to time at my property. But I was so disappointed in just the people that live there because you got to deal with people when you're renting properties out. That I was about to sell the property, and Marcus can tell you, I was 2 minutes away from putting a yard sign in there. I even had a cash offer for the property, and I prayed about it. You guys got to just pray about things. And listening to what you just said, Mike, I'm so glad I didn't. Because what I was willing to take for that property, the property has already increased by about $100,000. So I might sell it this year. But then again, I don't know. I'm gonna pray about it next year, and we'll see what happens.
I'll close out with this. Everyone that's on here, we're all going to commit. Thumbs up or however you want to do it. We're all going to get one property within the year. That's it. We're all going to get one. All of us. That's it. And we're all in. I know who's on this list. I know who's on the Zoom meeting. So we're all getting one. Some of us gonna show up and get two. I know, Kerma. I know how you roll. But we're all gonna get at least one. Thank you, family, for allowing me to share some of these tidbits with you. I'll turn it back over to the host, and I'll see y'all soon.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Mr. Cooper. We appreciate that. I mean, that was. Thank you again, Mr. Cooper. And thank you even for the challenge, right? For all of us, So this has been a really great day of training, just starting with Mr. Cooper wasn't even in on the training earlier today. And he just picked right up as if though somebody had given him the notes from earlier today. So that was really great. So and the reason why Mr. Porter is up there with Mr. Cooper, I have Kermon and both. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna allow you all to, show off for half a second, Kermon. And
I can't talk about this shirt. You know what? This family, this the stuff. That's the team we represent. Okay. I'm with you. All right, give me $20. So y'all give my own money don't stop that. Thank you.
But thank you all for joining us. Mrs. Porter, do you have something that you want to share before we close out?
I will just piggyback on what you heard Mr. Cooper say today. Follow through with the things that we've been discussing, guys. We've talked a lot about overcoming disappointment. We talked a lot about staying focused. You've heard Mr. Cooper talk about investing. We talk about that all the time here at Porterhouse, but we want you guys to absolutely take full advantage of all the opportunities that are available to you. Mr. Cooper talked about DSCR loans, stated loans, and HELOCs and so forth and so on. So take an inventory of where you are by having that conversation. You might need to have a sit down with Mr. Cooper so that he can take a look at where you are and give you whatever strategies you need. But the bottom line is get started, right? He talked about not having fear. He talked about having a positive mindset. Remember at the beginning, Mr. Cooper said that winning is contagious, losing is contagious. So is a negative mindset. So is a positive mindset. So be around people who believe in winning, who have a positive mindset. And when you feel yourself getting caught in that trap, just make the adjustment really quickly and keep moving. You heard him talk about setbacks. We all experience setbacks, but whatever that looks like, pick yourself up from today and determine that you're going to move forward and determine that you're going to win no matter what happens. So I will just reiterate there, and hats off to all of you who took the time out this evening to join us so that you could hear more about investment strategies from Mr. Cooper. We will be posting this video, so if anybody wasn't able to get on time, you will have access to it, and we'll continue this conversation. So hats off to you guys. Have a good night.
My husband appreciates that.
What about those people? Do they count?
Have a good night, everyone.
Well, they should, Laura, but even in this case,
Hey, have a good night.
third class citizens and
Have a good night, everyone.